just make this a segment. Fuck it, whatever. So my first time going to church was, I had never gone to a church as a kid. My family was religious, but not practicing. So I'd never gone to church, but at some point, my mom made a friend at work. And my mom's friend at work, basically, my mom made this friend at work as a scheme to get this friend at work to do play dates with their kid and myself as a way to get free babysitting. So, like, whenever, my mom, like, whenever, like, I was, or, like, there was a day where, there'd be no school or whatever, instead of paying a babysitter, my mom would call up her friend and say, hey, you want to organize a play date as a way of free childcare while I go to work, right? So, and so this family was heavily religious. And I remember one time I went over there for the weekend at one point, and I remember waking up on Sunday, they woke me up, and they're like, we got to go to church. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, we got to go to church. Okay, and they take me, and this is like around Christmas time, right? So it's like, we got to go to church, and it's like 2 weeks before Christmas. So we go to church, and it's like one of those mega churches where it's like an auditorium where you got the comfy like movie theater seats, right? But you're not allowed to sit because you got to like get up and dance, right? So it's like, we go to church, and these people are singing about God. They're like one of those people that like they get the microphone and they go like, I love God. And it's like, I was blown away because this is when I was like 11, 12 or so. This was kind of like my first introduction, or maybe I was like, I think I was 12. So this is like my first introduction to like, I was starting to become like a conscious human, right? I was like, what is this religion thing? I'll give it a shot. Like I know that some people in my family believe in God, right? This is around the time where I tried praying to God and like God ignored me for some reason, right? And you can see the effects of God ignoring me. Like, look at this. Right? And so, like, I remember just sitting there, and then, like, my, so-called friend, shout-outs to them, of course. We haven't talked, obviously, since I was, like, 12, but, if they ever stumble upon my videos when I'm famous or whatever, feel free to hit me up. They kept, like, tapping on my shoulder and saying, you gotta get up, because I was just sitting down, I was comfy. Right? And they kept like, you gotta get up and you gotta, and I was like, what do I do? And I was like, they're all dancing. I'm like very socially awkward, right? I was like an introvert, I'm probably autistic, right? So I'm like, I don't like dancing. I'm not a social person. This is really like horrifying for me. And so like, I'm standing up like this, like arms straight down, like just like doing this. Like, I'm just like not having a good time. And the best part was later that day. I think it was later that day. It might have been a separate day, but in my brain, it's later that day. Later that day, we went to TGIF, Fridays, the restaurant. And I remember, this is really good. Okay. So we went to TGIFs, right? Later that day. As like, like before my mom picked me up, and then my mom would meet us there, and then like, we'd eat together, and then I'd go home with my mom. So we went to there. And we're like, oh, we're at TGIFs. And I was like, like, thank God it's Friday or whatever. No, actually, yeah, no. Yeah. So there was the restaurant, not the day. But anyway, and they, like, everyone in the car looked at me, like, this guy's mother, like, father, like, he looked at me, like, in the backseat, like, everyone looked at me. It's like, it's not thank God, it's thank goodness. And they got, like, really stern. And they got, like, really mad at me. It's not thank God, it's thank goodness. It's Fridays? And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, and then like, that really just informed my opinion on religion. As like, wow, these people are fucking nuts, right? These people are like crazy, right? Like they got so triggered. I was just like, I was literally, and again, obviously the restaurant is literally called Thank God It's Fridays. So I was just like reading the sign. Like I was just like reading the sign on the fucking like restaurant door. I was just reading the fucking sign, and they look like, cause they were in a parking space at this point, right? So they both look back at me at the front seat, and then like, my buddy looks at me. It's like, it's not thank God, it's thank goodness. It's just, oh my God. But anyway, that's my opinion on religion, and my first experience with church and church people. I went to a Christian summer camp at one point, because these people got like when school was out, these people got me enrolled in a Christian summer camp. Should I go into this? Oh my god, should I really go into this? Oh, all right, fuck it, I'm going into it. All right, Christian summer camp, let's do it. So I go to this summer camp. I didn't know it was a Christian summer camp, okay? I had no idea. All I know is that my mom was like, oh yeah, you're gonna go to a summer camp. And it's not a summer camp where you stay there overnight. It was like, like a daycare, basically. So like my mom would go to work, drop me off in the morning, and she'd come and get me at like, 6 p.m. or whatever. So it was more like a daycare than a summer camp. It wasn't like a sleepover thing. They did have sleepover portions, but my mom never let me do that because, she just didn't let me do that. So during the summer camp, I remember going there. Oh my god, this is a classic Mr. Freak. This is great. Okay, so I'm going to the summer camp, and I'm like, wow, this is so fun. There's all these, kids to play with, and like we play a bunch of sports, right? Hello, Max. Hello, Max the dog at this point was not born. But so we go there. I'm like the first half of the day. So we get there at like 8 a.m., 7 a.m. or whatever, and that's like when people would get there, right? And then like at noon would be when the fucking church shit started, right? The church shit started at noon. So, I remember playing, like, soccer. I was playing on, like, jungle gyms. I was drinking a lot of, like, lemonade. I was having the time of my life, right? And again, keep in mind, my connection to religion, like, at this point, all it was just going to church that one time. And so, this is, you're gonna love this. Okay, so, and then around noon, right, it's lunchtime. Around noon or 11 or whatever, we, everyone's like, all right, we're going to go inside. It's super hot out. It's summer. It's super hot, right? So we go inside in this lovely air-conditioned, like, gymnasium kind of a thing, with, like, a bunch of fold-out chairs and, like, a stand, right? And then, so, like, I'm thinking, and then, like, there's like, a big tub of lemonade. So I go straight to I was a fat kid, by the way, for those of you that don't know. So I go straight to the lemonade. I get, like, 6 cups of lemonade in me. So I'm drinking this lemonade, and then all of a sudden, like, there's this, like, guy that walks up on this stage, and he's like, all right, everyone, sit down. And then, like, my camp counselor or whatever for my specific group was like, all right, we're going to sit over here. So we sit down, and I'm like, all right, what are we going to talk about? Because I didn't know that this was a religious thing. At this point, I just didn't know. So I sit down, and this guy goes on stage, all the lights go out, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome, right? This is going to be great. And then this guy starts fucking singing karaoke, right? And I you know what? I'm just gonna get the song. I don't care if I get copyright dinged. Who gives a shit? I'm just gonna get the song because I remember it. So I'm just gonna play an excerpt. So this song starts playing, right? Right, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna sing and dance. Now, keep in mind, I'm an awkward kid. I don't like singing and dancing, so it was, like, scary for me on that end. But, like, it's okay, whatever. Maybe I'll learn how to sing. Maybe I'll learn how to dance. Maybe I'll learn how to be a normal kid, right? So this is starting to play, right? And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, right? This is amazing. You're gonna love this. Right, and then the lyrics start, and I'm like, oh, no, right? It's like... It's amazing. And this song triggered me. This song triggered the fuck out of me. You're gonna love this. Okay? So at this point, this is when I realized, I'm just gonna let the song play. This is when I realized this is a Jesus thing. This is when I realized it's like, oh no, it's a Jesus thing. No, right? And everyone else, like, besides me, everyone's, like, doing this. Everyone's, like, singing, and I'm just doing the thing, like, in the church where I was just, like, I was standing up like this. And I was like, all right, okay, whatever. It's so good. This video is amazing. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what my first panic. I don't know what this video is playing. So this is the part that I get triggered, where it starts saying better than Spider-Man. Now, I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, but I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. I've seen the Spider-Man movies. I played Spider-Man on PS1. You know, I've got Spider-Man 1 and 2, Enter Electro on PS1. So I'm thinking, you know what? I don't even like Spider-Man that much, but this is definitely not better than Spider-Man. But you know what? I'll listen. But it keeps going. It keeps going. So, like, everyone's, like, having a good time. Woo! And I'm like this. You know, I'm like, uh-oh. It's like, all right, I don't know Superman. That's fine. Whatever. Superman's not my thing, but okay. Batman, whatever. I don't know Batman. I've never watched Batman, not the cartoons or anything. Just wait for it. Better than anyone. Okay, well, personally, at that point, I'm like, well, I like my mom. You know, I don't think Jesus is better than my mom, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm disputing that claim. I'm disputing that claim. This video, dude. I can't with this video. I can't with this video. It gets better, though. It gets better. It gets better. It gets better. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait for it. I'm gonna get triggered as fuck. I'm gonna get triggered as fuck. Just wait for it. So this is where I draw the line. This is where I draw the line. So okay, now for those of you that don't know, I am a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan. Huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan. Like the biggest, like I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like as soon as the card game came out in 2002, right? I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I love that shit. I got Blue Eyes White Dragon first edition packs. I was on top of that. So like, you know, in 2002, I was like fucking 6 or 7, right? So like, I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I was 6, right? Half of my life at this point was spent collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! And then this fucking shit pops on the screen saying better than Yu-Gi-Oh! And I get triggered. And at this point, I sit down. I'm like, you know what? I can't handle this. It is not better than Yu-Gi-Oh! That is fake news, but let's keep going. It's just not real. It's not real. It's just nope. Okay, I mean, I never played with Barbie, so I was like, alright, but Yu-Gi-Oh! I was triggered. I was still pissed. I don't even know what Action Man is, right? But I was triggered. I was pissed off that they thought that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is worse than Jesus? Are you kidding me? Right? So it's like, you know, they do like whatever. Hello, Max. Hello. So they were trying to brainwash me. This is like the video. It was not the same video, but it was very similar. They had pop-ups and whatever. It was very similar to this video, but it wasn't it exactly. So I get triggered. And then after the singing and dancing was like, I guess the sermon or whatever, like where the guy who was doing the karaoke, was like talking about God and the devil. I'm sorry, I don't care about Neera Tanden right now, Ghosty Boy. But so like, and then they're talking about God and the Max, no. So they're talking about God and the devil. And again, keep in mind, I'm still triggered about this Yu-Gi-Oh thing. Because you have to keep in mind, literally, I'm not even joking, I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards in my book bag that I brought because I was like, oh, maybe other people play Yu-Gi-Oh! Right, so I literally had my deck in my book bag, right, waiting just in case. Max, you fucked up my sheet. God damn it, Max. So I have my Yu-Gi-Oh deck in my book bag. I'm waiting, right? No one played Yu-Gi-Oh there. At this point, I'm like, is this an anti-Yu-Gi-Oh? Is this an anti-Yu-Gi-Oh camp? I thought this was a summer camp. I thought, you know, like this is an anti-Yu-Gi-Oh camp. What the fuck? Right? So, you know, I'm feeling uncomfortable, right? And again, I was antisocial. I was, you know, very introverted. I had no friends up until this point. Is Jesus better than Mega Man? Absolutely not. So I had no... Max, what the fuck are you doing? Like, are you this starved for attention? Holy shit. Oh my god. I'll watch it in, like, post, but whatever. So anyway, so then they do this, like, hour-long lecture or sermon or whatever the fuck it is. And then after that, Max, you cannot go down there. I refuse to let you go down there. So after that, we go into, like, you know, again, I had, like, specific camp counselors that were, like, you know, groups of, like, 8 kids or whatever with, like, you know, just to make sure that there was an adult for every 8 to 10 kids and then make sure that, you know, kids didn't get lost and that kind of shit. So we go into, like, we break into the groups. And so my friend, again, at this point, the one that I went to the church with earlier, Max, you ruined the sheet again. My friend was not in my group, unfortunately. We asked to have us in the same group, but they said no for whatever reason. So our group goes back into another room. It was like, like a classrooms or whatever. So we go into a classroom, and my group, like, camp counselor, like, was, and he's like, I guess, like 18 or 19 or whatever. This is like his summer job or whatever, right? So this guy is asking us, like, so what did you learn today about God? Now, keep in mind, I didn't know jack fuck all about God. I'm still triggered because I wanted to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And this fucking stupid song was like, Jesus is better than Yu-Gi-Oh! No, he's not. Jesus is objectively, in every sense of the word, inferior to Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is much, much better than Jesus. So, Max, what the fuck? So, Max, do you want me to just open the door and let you play downstairs or something? Holy shit, buddy. Do you got the zoomies? Do you need attention? Max is really fucking my steez up. So I'm in this group thing. And again, so my counselor's like, what did you learn today? Right? As a way of like trying to drill in the propaganda. And so they pick on me first because I was the new kid. Everyone else, this is like their second or third year of summer camp. So I was the new kid. So they pick me to go first. And I'm like, oh no. Because like, typically if someone else were to go first, right, I could just like copy their answer in different words. Like I would be like, oh, whatever, I say the same thing in different words. I was that smart at 12 years old. I was a pretty smart kid. I was reading Richard Dawkins. I was getting into that. Right, so like, but I got picked on first, right? So that was a disaster, right? This is a bad deal. Should have never been thought of. I was picked first, so I have no opportunity to copy someone else's work. So I got picked first, and I was like, like the devil's a bad guy, and we shouldn't like him. That's what I said. And then everyone stares at me. Like, remember when I told you about the Thank God It's Fridays thing? Right, so everyone stares at me, and they're like, that's not cool, man. You should, like, it's not a joke. Right, and I'm like, I'm feeling very awful. I'm like, I'm not joking. I don't know. I'm not like, so instead of like trying to teach me, right, they were like, you shouldn't have said that. Jesus isn't a joke. And I guess they felt what I said was a joke. I don't know, but it's like, and it was like the most awkward experience of my life. It really was bizarre. And again, I've got many stories of this Christian summer camp that I could talk about. But that was my first day. I was triggered. I brought my Yu-Gi-Oh deck. No one wanted to play Yu-Gi-Oh. I thought that Jesus didn't like Yu-Gi-Oh. I thought that I couldn't like Yu-Gi-Oh if I was a religious person. I thought that religion was anti-Yu-Gi-Oh. I was genuinely offended because I didn't understand any of the material, and they like judged me for it. So it was a really bad time. But I've got many other stories from that. I'll go into that maybe later. But Jesus fucking Christ, it was a bad deal. Should have never been thought of. This is my opinion, on Christian summer camp.
And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, where they thought about it.
No good. Now, I just want to say that, just to give y'all some other stories, the superintendent of the summer camp, the administrator, was later, you're never going to believe this, right? The superintendent for this summer camp, after summer camp, was my math teacher. Yep. Right? You're thinking to yourself, no. You're thinking to yourself, no way. Yep. When I went to school in September, right, I had a math teacher for like 3 weeks, and then they got sick, right? And then they hired a replacement math teacher because my other teacher got sick. And that math teacher was the superintendent for my Christian summer camp. Yep. You're never going to believe this. So I've got multiple stories. Maybe I'll go into that at some other point. But there you go. I haven't told that story in a while. That's my first experience at Christian summer camp. My first experience at a church. No good, folks. No good.